Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers police dispatchers, reasonable suspicion, and harassment, and is brought to us by Livingston Audit's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. On August 30th, 2024, the owner of the Livingston Audit's YouTube channel, who we will refer to as Mr. Livingston, was standing on the public sidewalk outside of the Jolly Pumpkin Brewery in East Lansing, Michigan, filming guests who were seated on the patio. He was there because he had received a tip that officers had been illegally trespassing the local homeless population from the sidewalk in front of the restaurant. The manager of the Jolly Pumpkin requested that Mr. Livingston stop filming the guests, and when Mr. Livingston declined to do so, she called the police.
Hingham County Central Dispatch, how can I help you?
Hi, yes, I'm calling from Jolly Pumpkin. I don't know if we can do anything about this, but there's a gentleman out front of my restaurant who is recording all of my guests that are in my patio. I'd asked him to stop, and my guests are like putting menus in front of their faces as they don't want me recorded or pictures taken, and he will not stop.
Okay, is he still there now?
Yes, he said he was doing an investigation, but couldn't tell me any information on it. So I said if he couldn't stop it,
The manager specifically told the dispatcher that Mr. Livingston was not on the property and that he was standing on the sidewalk in front of the business.
Okay, do you know if he arrived on foot or in a vehicle?
he was walking to the foot.
I will
Okay, where is
say,
he currently in the store?
I do think it'd be weird as fuck if you're like having a date and there's some like fat slobby dude just like videotaping you, right? But you know,
He's not in the store, he's outside.
it's not
He's
illegal.
right in front of like my patio outside.
There are, however, some places where the business has, like, I forgot what state it is, but there are places where the owner has some right of way in front of the entrance and areas of their private properties where you can't like impede, which I'm not necessarily against, right? Filming in public is fine, but I do think that I wouldn't necessarily be against someone filming for an overtly extended amount of time into, I don't know, it's a tough one. You know what I mean? But let's see.
Okay. And he's still recording the customers?
Yep, he told me he would not stop.
The dispatcher then placed a call for service regarding a suspicious person who was, quote, refusing to leave the Jolly Pumpkin.
We're both going to Jolly Pumpkin, 218 Albert, looking for a 45-year-old white male, beard, sunglasses, white shirt, black pants, a smiley face on it, recording customers, refusing to leave, no weapon.
Officer Jordan Willis and Officer Brennan Sermon of the East Lansing Police Department responded to the call and were later joined by Sergeant Chad Steeman. Officer Willis arrived on the scene first, finding Mr. Livingston standing on the sidewalk in front of the brewery.
Hey, what's up? Good. Yourself?
Good. So we just got a call from Jolly Pumpkin here saying that they don't want you to videotape in this area right here.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have your ID on you?
Am I committing a crime?
So they just want you to be moved along from the premises.
Okay.
Have you been trespassed or
No, I'm not even on their property.
So this is Jolly Pumpkin's property right here.
The public sidewalk is their property? I mean, they clearly broke off what they're using.
This is for seating right here.
This is... Hey, what's up, bro?
Do you mind if I see your ID?
Have I done something wrong?
So they just want you moved along, so we don't know if it's up to go in there and ask them if they want you to trespass or not to being on the property. I'm not trying to make it hard for you at all.
I'm not trying to either. I just really believe that I'm on public property, not their property, and therefore I'm not committing a crime. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm taking pictures in public, which is a First Amendment right. Therefore, I shouldn't be. It shouldn't be ID. I shouldn't be trespassed. I shouldn't be anything. I don't. This is where I'm at. I mean,
yeah, I understand. Ultimately, they just don't want you on their property anymore because it can kind of make other people feel uncomfortable in the area. It's making staff.
Is she deaf? Why does she keep saying on their property?
To stop the trespass, I'll move down to the end of their barrel. And then it's confusing to me, but then I'm off their property even though it's public sidewalk, right?
I mean, this is technically like their property here. They have, so if you're on like their premises here, they just don't want you around their business right now. It's making people feel uncomfortable a little bit, so. What are you taking pictures of? Just like students and stuff, or?
I was just walking along taking pictures until one of their customers called me back and a couple other things, and then I saved.
Okay. All right. Well, Officer Sermon is in there right now just talking to staff about it, and if anything, they just want you moved along, so we'll just wait a minute here.
While Officer Willis explains that the Jolly Pumpkin does not want Mr. Livingston near their premises because his filming is making people uncomfortable, Officer Sermon goes inside to talk to the brewery staff. The next portion of the interaction was captured on Officer Sermon's body camera.
Hi.
You looking for our manager?
Whoever,
yes, okay. She'll probably be the best person to talk to. One
thank
second.
you.
We have your candy box right here, okay? Here you go. You're welcome.
Hi. Are you the one that called on him? Okay. You want him trespassed?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep,
of course.
Can you trespass someone without them ever having been on your property? I imagine you can, but you can't be arrested, right? Maybe you can't. Well, I don't mean. So getting a trespass, like, okay, there's two things, right? Getting trespass, which means you are no longer allowed to be on their property, right? But then there's getting charged with trespassing, which is if you have been trespassed, you can now be charged with trespassing, right? And going to be some feet away from the property. Interesting. I don't know the answer. I don't. Like, I'm just thinking of the scenario, like, you know, like, there's someone that's calling you up, saying shit like, yo, fuck your place. I'm going to go on there and shit all over the floor. That you could preemptively trespass them, right? Or you just want someone never there. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, my man. You got your ID on you?
Have I broken the law?
No, they want you trespassed, so therefore we have the right to ID.
I have a right to leave then, right?
No. You are now being detained because you are going to be trespassed. I need to identify you before you're trespassed. In order to write you your trespass notice.
That's good that you took the glasses off, man.
Alright. So you're going to trespass me from this sidewalk?
Yeah, you want me to do this. What's that? No, you're trespassed from this establishment.
But I'm not in the establishment.
They have the right to trespass you.
I've never been on their property.
They have the right to trespass you.
So I can stay here.
The sidewalk is public.
So I can stay here.
You have a
You're
First
just
Amendment right.
trespassing me from walking
Correct.
inside.
Correct.
Okay.
No.
I don't know why you would want to do that because they're frustrated with you.
I don't know why they would trespass me from their property without even being on their property.
Talking to your face.
They have the right to do that. It is a private establishment. It is a private establishment.
After asking the manager whether she wants to trespass Mr. Livingston without confirming if he had ever been on the property, Officer Sermon informs Mr. Livingston that he is being detained and demands his ID. Now, although Michigan has not passed a statewide so-called stop and identify law, Section 26-7 of the Code of the City of East Lansing states that, quote, any peace officer who encounters a person under circumstances that reasonably indicate the person has committed, is committing, or is about to commit a violation of the Code of the City of East Lansing or law of this state may detain the person to ascertain the person's identity. Any person so detained shall, upon request of the officer, state their full name and the proper spelling thereof, or, if the person so elects, communicate it to the officer by other means. The ordinance also permits an individual to be arrested for a violation of Section 26-52 of the Code of the City of East Lansing for obstructing, resisting, or hindering an officer in the discharge of their duties if they fail to comply with the officer's request for identification after they have been personally advised by an officer of their obligations to identify themselves, and that failure to comply subjects them to arrest. Additionally, courts have interpreted Michigan's state obstructing statute, which is found in Section 750.479 of the Michigan compiled laws, and specifically states that the term obstruct includes, quote, a knowing failure to comply with a lawful command, as criminalizing the refusal to identify in some circumstances. As the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Michigan explained in the 2020 case of Barrera versus City of Mount Pleasant, quote, courts have interpreted this to permit a finding of resisting and obstructing arrest when an individual refuses to identify themselves. However, as we have discussed many times before on ATA, even in jurisdictions that have passed stop and ID laws, officers cannot constitutionally detain an individual and require identification without reasonable suspicion to believe they are involved in criminal activity. Now, we will discuss the details of whether the officers had reasonable suspicion later in this episode, but for now, it is essential to understand that the Fourth Amendment required the officers to have reasonable suspicion in order to detain and identify Mr. Livingston.
That I never entered.
If they would like you trespassed, you're trespassing.
If the field house across the street calls you and says they want me trespassed because I'm on a sidewalk, you're going to do it?
Sure.
So anybody,
I highly doubt that
trust anybody off of the sidewalk.
I highly doubt that field house would call and have you trespass just because you're standing on a sidewalk.
I felt the same way about the Jolly Pumpkin.
Okay.
But that's being proved wrong.
Okay. Hey, hold on. Sorry. This is Sermon. So this guy out here, Jolly Pumpkin, wants to trespass. He claims he never entered the establishment, but it's still private property if they want him trespassed from entering. They're uncomfortable with him. I didn't ask them. I can go on there and ask them. He's claiming that he never entered Jolly Pumpkin. But I mean, regardless, it's private property. If they don't want him, and it's not trespassing from being on the sidewalk. It's correct. So he's allowed to be there. He's allowed to record. He's allowed to do what he wants. But if they want to trespass him, but they are pretty. I guess I can go talk to them and double check. But okay.
Baseline 35 is going to be holding a PD accident, Harrison and California.
All right, I'll go ask them then and establish if he ever entered. So like past the barrels, that would be their property, right? Okay. All right, sounds good. I'll go inside with them and double check. I think he's just one of those First Amendment guys. All right, I'll go double check with them inside really quick. All right, bye. Don't print it yet. I'm gonna go and talk to them inside and see if he ever entered in, and then I'm gonna talk to them and try to, just so there's not issues between them, because he could sue them if they tell us that they want him trespassed, but he never actually entered. Like Steven said it's like a gray line. Like he could, but I'll be right back.
Let's go. All right, let's go a little bit forward because, like,
you guys
there's a lot of fluff in this one.
Give you my ID.
Okay, I am investigating a possible trespass. Okay, I have reasonable suspicion to ID you because a crime is afoot. I don't know when I come on scene and I make contact with you.
16 and 35.
He did go in and talk. Did they lie?
I just went. No, they
you
just
went
said.
Inside before you took my ID. You went inside and talked to them.
I said, would you like him trespassed from your property? They said yes. So then I came outside here.
So you solicited a trespass without doing your investigation. Is what you...
Are you willing to have a conversation with?
That's a key point. Soliciting a trespass. This actually happens in RP all the time. It's actually extremely illegal.
With me or no?
You just said you went inside to find out if
Correct.
I went on their property,
I
but
told
you
you
went
exactly what I
inside and
just
said,
said.
do you want him trespassed?
Is giving us the reasonable search and contact, correct?
No, I can call the cops on them.
Yeah,
You can, yes.
Yeah, we will talk.
Yes, 100%.
And investigate it.
Why would you? I mean, what are they doing wrong? I
Why-
can see from here.
Well, what are you doing
All they're
wrong?
doing
They
is being beautiful.
called us for trespass.
I mean,
Well, what are you doing wrong?
That's what the call is. I'll even
that
tell you.
right. So you should
Exactly.
have never even talked to me. When you seen me driving by,
So-
went, oh wow,
so-
that's guys in public
So yes, I
taking
went.
pictures.
How do I know?
Can
you
I have my
guys
ID
outside?
back?
Officer Sermon and Sergeant Steeman argue
And
that
before, yo, that's an assault.
the demand for Mr. Livingston's
Tennessee versus Garner.
ID was lawful based on reasonable suspicion of trespassing. Section 750.552 of the Michigan
He's
Compiled
reaching,
Laws,
son, yeah.
the state's trespassing statute, prohibits citizens from entering the lands or premises of another without lawful authority after having been forbidden to do so by the owner or occupant or the agent of the owner or occupant, or remaining without lawful authority on the land or premises of another after being notified to depart by the owner or occupant or the agent of the owner or occupant. A key element of both types of trespassing is actually being physically present on someone else's land or the property. Now, since the Jolly Pumpkin is a private business, it would certainly be within the manager's authority to ask Mr. Livingston to leave the premises because his filming was upsetting the other patrons, as the First Amendment protects individuals from government interference and expression, but generally does not apply to private businesses. However, the manager of the Jolly Pumpkin had absolutely no control over the public sidewalk and could not order Mr. Livingston to leave public property. Therefore, it is unlikely that a court would conclude that Officer Sermon had reasonable suspicion to believe that Mr. Livingston had committed the offense of trespassing when he demanded identification. Although Officer Sermon argues that he did not know that Mr. Livingston had not been on the premises, the Jolly Pumpkin manager clearly told dispatch in the 911 call that he was only on the sidewalk in front of the brewery.
He's not in his store, he's outside. He's right in front of, like, my patio outside. Sidewalk.
In the 1985 case of United States versus Hensley, the Supreme Court concluded that, quote, if a flyer or bulletin has been issued on the basis of articulate facts supporting a reasonable suspicion that the wanted person has committed an offense, then reliance on that flyer or bulletin justifies a stop to check identification. If the flyer has been issued in the absence of a reasonable suspicion, then a stop in the objective reliance upon it violates the Fourth Amendment. In other words, as the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, which has jurisdiction over Michigan, explained in the 2003 case of Feathers versus A, quote, if the dispatcher had sufficient information to find reasonable suspicion for a Terry stop, the stop was permissible. But if the dispatcher lacked sufficient information to satisfy the reasonable suspicion requirement, and the officer's subsequent observations did not produce reasonable suspicion, then the stop violated the Fourth Amendment. Now, in this situation, a court would likely find that the dispatcher did not have sufficient information to form reasonable suspicion of trespassing, as all that was reported by the manager was that Mr. Livingston was standing on the sidewalk in front of the brewery filming patrons. Although the dispatcher failed to communicate this information properly to the officers, the relevant case law establishes that detaining an individual violates the Fourth Amendment if neither the dispatcher's information nor the officer's observations meet the reasonable suspicion standard. When Officer Sermon arrived on scene, Mr. Livingston was standing on the sidewalk, not on Jolly Pumpkin property, and the manager reported to the dispatcher that Mr. Livingston was only on the sidewalk. Therefore, it is probable that a court would conclude the detention and identification were conducted in the absence of reasonable suspicion, and therefore violated the Fourth Amendment.
Feel harassed right now?
Do I know this is my
Are
job?
you a reasonable person?
I would like to think so.
Okay, well, I'm doing more right now with you than I was then because I wasn't even talking to them.
But it's how they feel. It's not how I feel. It's how
You
they
just
feel.
said a reasonable person and that you're a reasonable person. I feel
I'm
that
not-
maybe they were unreasonable in their
I'm not going to sit
expectation
here.
of privacy in public.
And that's where you can.
They could have sat inside, sir.
But they didn't want to. They covered their faces, I'm told by the manager. And
Why?
they left because they're not happy. So they asked him to stop, and there was a little disagreement between you and the guests.
Nope.
That's what I was saying. They were how anybody can feel a certain way. I feel a certain way. People have the right to feel it. If they feel a certain way, they feel harassed by you. They should feel it.
But what I'm hearing though is a lot of feelings. Any other questions for us? No. Are you done harassing me? Telling me that I have to leave?
I never told you that you had to leave. I told you you could stay right there.
Okay, well, you wanted to become an amicable situation where they were happy and I was happy.
Correct, I did do that. You are correct. I did do that, and I asked you if you could stand over there. Yes, you are right. I did do that. I never ordered you to leave. They could have said that's their business. That's the people that want to see.
You're in public. I'm sorry. Would you like to move inside? I can do that. Create your own privacy. If you don't want to be filmed in public or seen in public, maybe you shouldn't sit outside.
People allowed to sit there and ask you to not film them and not be upset by it.
This is like kind of a boring one, to be honest. These cops are fucking retarded. Is it cringe doing what he's doing? Yep. It's fucking cringe. Like, I like First Amendment auditors. This is a cringe one. Because, like, I like the ones where they go into government buildings. Because, like, those that work for the government especially should be documented, right? I don't mind it when they're, like, looking at police stations and other ones. But when it's, like, a public place, this shit is cringe as fuck. And, like, it's cringe as shit. Like, fucking hella cringe. And no doubt he wants a reaction. No doubt he is actually happy that the police came. Because now he's got views, right? These aren't the kind of First Amendment auditors that I appreciate, because this doesn't actually create anything of value. Because those that are learning the lesson primarily are people that are mostly just being annoyed and have no power over the privacy, non-privacy laws. With that said, these cops are dumb fucks. But, like, you know, and, like, I don't understand how some police forces, I mean, then again, like, this is BCSO logic right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. Like, bro, your feelings don't mean shit, bitch. You know, the feelings aren't law. You can't just be like, well, I feel uncomfortable, arrest him. You know what I mean? Like, imagine, like, yeah, that's how Republicans and Democrats start getting arrested. Could you imagine that? I feel like I don't like I feel uncomfortable. Put him in jail. But yeah, this is kind of a boring one. Cops should have to pass the bar to be a cop. No, I don't think so. Brother, I would argue that some roleplay cops have a better training than some police officers IRL. In terms of certain aspects of policing, right? Like, no way, really? Yeah, man. Listen, I'm not saying most, but some. Hope it's not true. Guys, okay, look. Let's break it down. Think about how many cops there are in the United States, right? Certain police forces literally only requires 6 months of training and no formal degree. A lot of police forces will hire officers that were fired after cases of corruption. So it's not like, you know, so when you run into dumb fucks like this, it shouldn't be surprising because it's not like there's like hundreds of these stories, right? It's just some police departments just hire dog shit officers. To call them retarded and dumb fucks is a bit harsh. I don't think so. You make it sound like it's an insanely terrible mistake. It is. It is. Roleplay cops, no chance of better training in real life. Listen, Alexi, you want me to say some real shit? Okay, I'm not going to say it because I'm on Twitch. If you want my real opinion, I can't say it on Twitch. I'll put it that way. When it comes to certain police officers. No. What do you mean? Listen, Alex. Yes, they are retarded and dumb fucks. It's not harsh. Fuck these people. Because the fact of the matter is that these are not, you cannot look at these individuals as humans and simp them. Like that they're just a man and a woman that's just doing their job. No. They are swearing an oath to protect and serve. And they are utilizing their power to impose a detention. He can no longer move anymore. He no longer can move without getting arrested and go to jail because they're fucking, these dumb fucks don't know what they're doing. I think it's wrong to have sympathy, right? It's a very dangerous, I think, mindset, in my opinion, to ever give leeway to law enforcement. No. If you're a dumb fuck, you should be fired. And to, you know, like, this is such a simple concept. Like, because this is such a simple civil matter, right? That if you, as officers, don't know that he can't be on a public space and that he can't be detained without reasonable suspicion, tell me how these motherfuckers are going to act when shit gets real. You know what I mean? Yeah, fuck that. Fuck that. Oh, I think you misunderstood my bar comment. They need more training. They should have. Yeah, that I agree with. Yeah. Yeah. I get to a degree, Alex, like your sympathy towards them, but fuck them. Fuck them. I'm going to say my shit. Yeah, that's how you get acorn cops. Exactly.
Okay, well, you wanted to become an amateur.
Check out the UK police tackle motorbikes. I want to see that. I changed my mind about cops for good after watching. The United States needs. I am of the opinion. Listen, I'm staunch when it comes to these following opinions. There should be federal level expectations of police officers. If certain types of action is taken, you should be federally barred from being a police officer. Like, I don't think something like this, but this should lead to a serious inquiry and a forced retraining, which is probably going to come at the end of this. But the laxness that we have in the United States literally allows some of the most egregious police officers to do some of the wildest shit, and then they get fucking rehired in another state. It's insane. I also stand here saying that the prison system and the justice system in the United States is nasty. Chat, we have the privilege. I have the privilege to stream on the internet playing video games, and you guys have the privilege to sit back and watch my stream. You know, when I was growing up, if you're a black man or a brown man or a not white man in a town with a little bit of marijuana, you get to go to jail. You get to get pulled out of a vehicle. You get to go to prison at the age of 17 and then get stuck in there. And after you've been battered and bruised by the inmates that have probably done significantly worse, you're now left in a scenario where you have no other option other than likely commit crime. And when for fucking weed, bro. Right? And so, like, when I have these, like, very strong opinions, I say, well, look at, like, reality here, man. Like, who's that helping? Nobody. A lot of these fucking departments do not operate under, like, the perception of, like, hey, I'm here for public safety. Some of them are actually, like, this is not an easy job being a cop. But if you're fucking retarded, you should not have that position. And I genuinely think you have to be fucking retarded to think, like, how do you have a functioning brain to think what this guy did was illegal? Just help me understand that concept. You know what I mean? Because, like, the bare minimum amount of training should tell these cops, guys, he didn't do anything. What are we arresting him for? You know what I mean? I could understand if this is a situation where you need to make a split-second decision where you don't have enough time to, like, run through a thought process to be like, okay, what do I do here? And you have to react to it. These guys had a dispatch call. They drove here. They had opportunity to assess the situation. The only answer is they're fucking retarded. And probably going to produce retarded offspring. I'm sorry. Listen, man, maybe I'm going harsher after that after what Alex said. But fuck that. I don't feel bad. These guys are fucking incapable.
That's fine.
Like, bro, this is like it ain't even that hard, man. Like, you're telling me that these guys can't be like, literally, they don't know how to trespass. Like, fuck out of here. If they don't know when they're allowed to trespass and detain somebody, what the fuck are they able to do then in anything more complicated? One of these motherfuckers is a sergeant. Fuck out of here, man. Motherfuckers should be working at Stop and Shop, not with a fucking gun. They have a gun, bro. Think about that. You have these retards have guns. I want to think about that for a second. It's not that these guys like these guys are retarded and they have guns.
Well, what I'm hearing though is a lot of feelings. Any other questions for us?
No, are you done harassing me? Are you telling me that I have...
And like I said, this guy's cringe as fuck. But these guys fucking retarded and they ain't got guns. Like, I'm just saying.
I never told you that you had to leave. I told you could stay right there.
Okay, well, you wanted to come in.
And qualified immunity. Yeah, which sometimes can mean that if you're retarded enough as a cop, you get to get away with it.
Amicable situation where they were happy and I was happy.
Correct, I did do that. You are correct. I did do that, and I asked you if you could stand over there. Yes. You are right, I did do that. I never ordered you to leave.
Wait.
They could have said.
Hold on, let's see
Argue
what.
that the auditor's filming constituted harassment because the patron
Sorry, chat. I got like a little like really got into that right there. But I'm just saying, like, that's crazy to me.
being recorded, quote,
If you can't do something so basic, and you're a fucking sergeant, a motherfucker's got a gun. Like, how you gonna pass that off? I know
arrest.
a
Section
man that
26
was arrested because he looked like a black criminal. They wasted 3 weeks of their time and lost their jobs in Europe. That's crazy.
-67 of the Code of the City of East Lansing. The city
Yeah, this ain't like Amazon sent you the wrong package, or like, you know, they accidentally rang you up for the wrong amount of money on the cash register. No, these are motherfuckers with guns that are illegally detaining you.
harassment ordinance.
And like, if you don't call it out like on the earliest stages, on the most basic shit, then you're also equally sort of like, and I know this isn't intentional, but you have to think about it as a stepwise process, right? It's like, problems don't get solved by waiting until something egregious happens. Right? No police officer deserves sympathy. I agree on that. Genuine question, though, as you linked roleplay to real policing. Do you think you've ever made a mistake in the last few years, or as a RP officer? I don't know your point. The problem with your question is you're using a little bit of Blainer logic there, because the question is illogical. Is that when I drew the comparison with roleplay, there are genuinely people on the server that understand certain aspects of the law, the bare basics, better than everyday cops. And that's a reality simply because of where it's a numbers thing, right? There are, when you look at like these audit and stuff like that, this is like 5% of the entire United States police forces, right? And I think it's reasonable. I think it should be reasonable to say that when it comes to like basic law, that people in RP that literally spend all fucking day RPing may have a better, are going to be significantly more intelligent than some dumb fuck that popped out of a police academy after 6 months and, you know, their father made them a police officer. You know what I mean? And if whether myself when RPing or someone else RPing made a mistake is irrelevant because it's pretend, right? Not to mention, you know, my statement is meant to be hyperbolic, which means it's an exaggeration. And, you know, a mistake in pretend world, nothing matters. It's who cares. This is real life. And in real life, if a police officer does not have the cognitive ability or intelligence to the point that they are not able to understand fundamentally when they can stop somebody and when they can arrest them, and they don't have the cognitive ability to rationally think about the decisions they're making, they should not be police officers, right? To me, witnessing this, it is the equivalent of someone saying they are a math professor and you go and, you know, you go to their seminar and the math professor convinces you that, like, is trying to say 3 times 9 is 27. And you're like, oh, he just made a mistake. And they're like, no, 3 times 9 is 27. Or sorry, it is 27. 3 times 9 is 28, right? Right? And just like is dead set on it, right? That's a problem. I agree it's irrelevant. Do you feel that those officers should be fired for this? Yes. 100%. No. Okay. In this situation, I think this sergeant should be fired. And the others reprimanded. Because like if this dumb fuck doesn't even understand that something wrong happened here, this guy is too retarded to have a gun.
Thank you, sir.
And too retarded to create other retards.
Thank you for your professional.
And this guy isn't going to serve and protect me with a gun if this retard doesn't understand basic policing.
The officers argue that the auditor's filming constituted harassment because the patrons being recorded, quote, felt harassed. Section 26-67.
Because if you let those things go, this is the same dude that's going to walk into your house one day and then be like, my bad.
Of the code of the city of East Lansing, the city's
you gotta
harassment
stop it early,
ordinance
man.
states that, quote, no person with the intent to harass another person shall engage in a course of conduct or repeatedly commit acts that alarm or seriously annoy another person, which acts or conducts serve no legitimate purpose. Similarly, section 750.411H of the Michigan compiled laws defines the offense of stalking as, quote, a willful course of conduct involving repeated or continuing harassment of another individual that would cause a...
These guys will knock your house on a clerical error? Exactly, man. Did you guys ever see that video where, like, the police ended up raiding some guy's property, and it turned out it was the wrong fucking property, and they were making up excuses? Like, bro, you don't wait until it gets to that, man. Like, once again, like, tell me how you accidentally have plenty of time to like this is I just I mean, tell me where I'm wrong here, man. Like these guys had ample opportunity to think through their steps, right? I don't it's such a simple civil matter. You're telling me this guy's a sergeant and he doesn't know how trespassing works and how detainment works? That's crazy. How do you feel about opening a door for police and the cop puts his foot in the door? I don't want to give the right answer because I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on Twitch. It depends on the state, I guess. Listen, man, yeah. Listen, I'm not like Texas born and bred levels of you know, of shit, but like I very much think that police, we are over policed as shit in the United States. Over policed as fuck. And unfortunately, it's a byproduct of the political elite, right? And our system. At the end of the day, right? Like there's like genuine issues, right? For example, and those genuine issues end up getting abused. To give you an example, you know, you'll have like a real situation, like for example, during the holidays, there might be, like, for example, like, let's say 30 years ago, there's probably more deaths to drinking and driving, right? And, you know, mothers against drinking and driving and whatever, there was, like, you know, people putting up an uproar around it. And it's understandable that the populace, having lost lives, is going to want more enforcement to prevent drinking and driving, right? And that's a good thing. However, everybody in government is always going to fucking lace their pockets. And it doesn't work any different than, I think, generally, than how other companies, you know, get government contracts. Is that the state police, the individual, like, police departments are going to want to take that government funding and try to show that they're policing right, and they're going to over police without any restrictions. Like, you know what I'm saying? If it's kind of like you see it happen in RP sometimes too. And I don't think this is a complicated, you know, this is a very complicated concept, is that those that run these departments have to show their work, right? They need to prove that they're doing work, whether it's like, you know, you've heard about like quotas for traffic citations. They might need to show arrests. They, in order to justify their existence, they need to show results. But the thing is, you're going to do whatever it takes to get those results unless you have strong standards. And that's the problem, right? That's the issue. Because the results are not, no one's going to look into the details of the results. They're going to be like, yo, we put 10 people in for a DUI, right? It may turn out that 5 of those people got a DUI, but never actually drink. You know what I'm saying? They did it based on some bullshit. Yeah. Yeah. So, or like, I'll give you a more, you know, I think relatable one. Is we have too many, our kids in our well-off neighborhood are, you know, smoking weed. Police force reaction. Don't worry, we put 100 minorities in prison this year. They had drugs on them. Turns out 50% of those minorities were children under 19. You know what I mean? Oh my God, it smells like weed and you're black. All right, out of the car, sir. Oh shit, I found some shake. You know what I mean? Like, fuck. It's crazy. Yeah. So, it may seem simple, but I don't know, man. Yeah, probable cause to my dick. Let's watch one more. Yeah, that's the crazy thing about body cam footage. Imagine with all the stuff that you find, like these videos, and you see like the truth come out in the body cam footage. Body cam footages are new. You know what I mean? Wait, what the fuck?
Welcome to Audit the Audit.
I was harassed by a certain cop daily, weekly when I was 14 to 16 back in 2008, 2010. He ended up being found out for being corrupt shit, took bribes, hung his vest on a tree, and shot his own vest and pretended that he was shot at. He tried to pin it on someone in my school. Yeah, man, like internal forensics is only a consequence of people demanding accountability by police. So many people have, like, before there was like body cam footage, you know, before there was like so many of these things, like corruption was so much like when corruption happens blatantly on body cam, imagine how much existed before that existed, right? Before cops, back at like today, my understanding is that most, maybe all places, as far as I'm aware, most places, and it may not be everywhere, you have to like log your gun in and log your gun out when you go to the station. You know what I mean? Back in the day, you could be a fucking cop. You could probably fucking murk some dude, like take his gun, blop, blop, put it in his fucking hand. You think that didn't happen? Of course it did, bro. Shit. I mean, we shouldn't be all that surprised, right? Given what's happening around the world right now.
Where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers evictions, stop and
Yeah, we got a real-time genocide being covered, you know what I'm saying?
identify laws, and police searches. And it's brought to us by Alan Bailey's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. Before we dive into today's interaction, I just wanted to give everyone a quick reminder that if you pick up your copy of the Civilian Rights Hand Guide today, it should still arrive before the content that we get something useful and valuable in return. It's available now exclusively on Amazon, and you can find a link in the description and pinned comment below. Thanks again.
One thing I should point out, by the way, is Audit the Audit. I don't think this guy is actually a real life attorney, so do keep that in mind.
Responded to a call.
I don't actually know who this guy is. He makes fantastic videos that are really good, and I think he cites pretty well, but I don't think he's actually an attorney.
Regarding an allegedly
So everything that we do see in these videos, they're not necessarily
unauthorized entry onto a commercial property in Hillsborough County, Florida. When the officers arrived at the location, they found Curtis Bailey, the lessee of the property, and his brother, Alan Bailey. The interaction that followed was captured on Deputy Diaz Rodriguez's body camera.
Sounds like a big city.
Researched well, yeah. Damn, I've never seen this before. I haven't seen, like, I think this might actually be their uniform. Oh, for entertainment purposes, yeah.
Let me check. I'm just gonna check. Yeah, you want hang on one part.
I would associate this to like lieutenants and shit. I don't think I've ever seen a police force where like whites they're normal.
He barely thinks that he can do it without knowing to find off. We are the ones that least that he's not. Let me see about calling it. Let's see if we can find it. It might be in this truck too.
By your ID?
The phone, the other phone. We're looking for his other phone.
This is your shop?
Yes, currently it is until either the eviction goes through or until we leave. And we're almost done leaving. Bring my phone. Bring the phone.
Do you have your ID with you?
I haven't broken the law yet.
Do you have your ID with you?
Of course I do.
Hey,
I'm walking over here.
No. You're gonna come over here. I'm talking to you here.
Okay.
Do you have your ID with you?
I do. I already answered that.
Can I please have it?
Are you asking or is it?
I am asking, yes.
All right. Until
we're here in a call, so we gotta.
I get that.
Okay.
I get that.
So can I please have your ID?
I'm respectively saying no at this point. Only at this point. Okay.
And why do you want? Do you not?
Why do I have to? He's the one that owns the. Let me finish, please.
Sir, listen
he's
to me.
the owner of the. He's the owner of the property.
Besides the story, what's your name?
Alan.
My name is Frank. Deputy Diaz Rodriguez. As you can read right here.
I would never be able to say that. But
okay. It's Diaz Rodriguez. You can just repeat after me.
Diaz Rodriguez.
Yes.
Yeah, the Rodriguez.
Okay. Do you have an ID?
Yes, I do.
Okay, can I please have it?
Wait, why did they come here?
Determine what's going on.
Did I miss it? I'm confused.
Diaz Rodriguez's body. Unauthorized entry onto a commercial property in Hillsborough County, Florida.
Damn.
When the officers arrived at the location, they
got
found
like a fucking
Curtis Bailey, the lessee of the property, and his brother, Alan Bailey. The interaction that followed was captured on Deputy Diaz Rodriguez's body camera.
Sounds like a big city.
Damn, Holmes.
Yeah, you want hang on one part real quick. Go with him real quick to get the phone so you can call the owner.
Yeah.
Well, the owner, he barely thinks that he can do it without knowing to find off. We are the ones that least that he's not. Let me see about calling it. Let's see if we can find it. It might be in this truck too.
By your ID?
The phone, the other phone. We're looking for his other phone.
This is your shop?
Yes, currently it is until either the eviction goes through or until we leave. And we're almost done leaving. Bring my phone. Bring the phone.
Do you have your ID with you?
I haven't broken the law yet.
Do you have your ID with you?
Of course I
Hey,
do.
hey,
I'm
hey.
walking over here.
No. You're gonna come over here. I'm talking to you here.
Okay.
Do you have your ID with you?
I do. I already answered that.
Can I please have it?
You asking or is it?
I am asking, yes.
All right. Until
we're here in a call, so we gotta.
I get that.
Okay.
I get that.
So can I please have your ID?
I'm respectively saying no at this point. Only at this point. Okay.
And why do you want? Do you not?
Why
want to
do I
use your
have
ID?
to? He's the one that owns the. Let me finish, please.
Sir, listen to me.
He's the owner of the. He's the owner of the property.
Besides the story, what's your name?
Alan.
My name is Frank. Deputy Diaz Rodriguez, as you can read right here.
Yeah, I would never be able to say that. But
okay. It's Diaz Rodriguez. You can just repeat after me.
Diaz Rodriguez.
Yes.
Yeah, the Rodriguez.
Okay. Do you have an ID?
Of course, yes, I do.
Okay, can I please have it?
Once we determine what's going on,
they are doing that part of this call. I'm doing this part of the call.
I do not have to help you.
People wonder why the defund the police movement was pushed.
Okay.
And I'm not doing that. I gave you my name.
Okay.
Okay. I haven't committed a crime.
I don't actually know when defund the police happened. I'm gonna be honest. It all blurs together because it's every I'd say it's like every couple years, like there's usually a major news story, right? But it happens more often than we realize.
And that.
How old are you?
Huh?
How old are you?
60.
60.
I don't think defund the police is reasonable. I'm not a huge fan of the idea behind defund the police just because the slogan gives the wrong messaging, right? Because, and maybe this is just how we are, is police are not bad. Police are necessary. Police are what protects us, allows us to go to sleep at night knowing we're not going to have some random person break into your house and start you know what I mean? And then taking your shit. The problem is it's equally, the slogan sucks. What there needs to be is police accountability, either state-wise or, federal-wise. There needs to be fucking standards, right?
Okay. So
is that your car?
And I think there needs to be a bare minimum understanding of when you can do something and when you can't do something. And if you don't have that, you open the door for cowboy cops that are just trying to play hero and will sometimes make an enemy, and that's when bad things happen.
This is all his.
So all of these cars are his?
These two cars are his.
None of these cars here are registered to you?
Pardon?
None of these cars here are registered to you?
I'm not making out. None of these cars are what?
Registered.
Registered.
To you.
No, none of them are registered.
It doesn't matter.
Look at my drink. Just my drink. Right there.
Sure.
I understand that you got to do your investigation and stuff like that. I, myself, is just here helping my brother out.
Okay, I understand
I have
that.
no other interest in this except that I heard him. When he found out, he came because the owner, I talked to him 2 days ago. The owner, I was here picking up some stuff on a cart that's somewhere around this corner here. And, he told me a little bit what was going on, and stuff like that dealt with this situation. And I said, all I'm here is to help him get his stuff out of here and stuff. And the owner said, fine, no problem. He said, well, he's going to have people work on.
No, I know not
property.
a single one got defunded, but I'm saying the slogan, I think, is bad messaging, right? That's what I'm saying. Defund the police implies at face value that all police need to be removed. Whereas, what's actually, it's bad branding, exactly. But branding and slogans are important because they set the tone for how the majority are going to interpret something. Because let's be honest, man, most people are too fucking lazy. Because the thing is, like, anybody who knows what it's about is already supporting it anyways. Right? And when you have a movement, you want people to buy into the movement, and that's why slogans matter. Right? You don't want to create divisions over poor sloganing.
Or clean up this stuff inside. Hello. Great.
And it can generate like unwanted enemies. Like some people can come across as like massive bootlickers that enjoy the fantasy of having a police officer's dick in their mouth. That could look at something like that and be staunchly against it just because they don't look any deeper than the slogan or the general slogan lines. Happens all the time. Yeah, it can also be those kind of things can be like weaponized against the movement as well.
No problem.
It's shitty, but it's more the case nowadays when I feel like a lot of politics, if you think about it, all bubbles down to like fucking TikTok feeds, you know what I mean?
You know, and he says, you know, I'm not going to call and have all this towed off or anything. You go, right? He says, is your brother going to give us the key? I go, I don't know. I don't know what's all going on. So we know that he started some stuff, but it has not been completed. We have not been evicted by his lawyer. His lawyer, he knows who his lawyer is. I don't know his name. Said that he checked on the dockets and see if there was anything, if a writ of possession was done yet. And he said, nope, it's not been done. You haven't got one delivered to you. And he said, nope, I didn't even know there was one coming. And so, and the lawyer says, well, you still have controlling interest of the property. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and cut the locks. And we cut one lock.
Your lawyer told you to do that.
Mr. Bailey explains that his brother still has a right to the property because he has not been served a writ of possession. Under Florida eviction law, a so-called writ of possession is a court order issued to enforce an eviction judgment that allows a landlord to regain possession of their rental property. Now, before a writ of possession can be issued, the landlord must file an eviction lawsuit against the tenant. If the court rules in the landlord's favor, a final judgment for eviction is entered, and the court will issue a writ of possession. As Section 83.62 of the Florida statutes explains, quote, after entry of judgment in favor of the landlord, the clerk shall issue a writ to the sheriff describing the premises and commanding the sheriff to put the landlord in possession after 24 hours notice conspicuously posted on the premises. Accordingly, because Mr. Bailey's brother had not yet been provided with the 24-hour notice required, the court would likely find that he was still entitled to possession of the property.
His lawyer.
His lawyer?
Yeah. Well, it's just like, this is a totally different situation, but it was still following the same scenario.
Do you have any property here?
Say that again?
Do you have any property here in this premises?
Yeah, well, yeah, we do. Not me. My brother does. That's his truck. That's his frame that body that is supposed to go on. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, the owner, and this part here, you know, a lot of this is just hearsay. I can only tell you what I was told, okay? Because I'm not into this at all.
Right.
Okay. So, the owner told my brother that he was thinking of selling the property. Get that. And so, so a couple of people just came by to look at the property and stuff. But then, out of the blue, the next thing we know, we're being told that we got to move. Not me, he is. And so I came down there.
So is he the owner or not?
He's the leasing party. He leases.
The leasing party, okay.
So he's the leaser.
Where's your brother?
That's him there. The guy standing over there in the black.
That's your brother?
Yeah. Okay. He's the leasing party. You know, the guy wanted us out. He was the only one was doing it. I came down to help him. We got more and more stuff out. If there is an eviction, it hasn't gone to court, it hasn't been adjudicated or anything yet. That's my understanding by what the lawyer said earlier today. Okay.
Oh,
I believe you
fuck.
guys-
Oh, shit.